Good day. Thank you for being here. My name is Robert Farrell. If there's a better, faster way to use WordPress, including all the plugins, SEO, marketing, promotion, sales, then I am the instructor for you. I've been doing this for a long time. I run over 300 WordPress websites for myself and my clients. I'm very good at what I do. Let me share with you some basic techniques in understanding and using WordPress. Now, we're going to be using the Ultimatum theme, but before we even get into that, I highly suggest that you install the all-in-one WordPress security firewall plugin. It's a free plugin. I used to use it. I won't name the other one, but I used to use another plugin, but quite frankly, it became a big headache. So I'm not going to mention the name, but they need to get their act together. Anyway, this particular plugin is one of my favorites. It's by Tips and Tricks HQ, and it's really simple to set up. And it's very, very effective. Now, for those of you that think that you don't need protection for your WordPress site, let me share a real horror story with you. Back at the end of last year, 2013, I had a lot of my WordPress sites, just test marketing sites, not anything, fancy, or it took me, a 3-4 page website. And yes, I know about security plugins, but you know what? Even I didn't take it very seriously. Now, most of the hacks that you're going to find on your WordPress site is pretty much not nefarious or not after your credit card information or steal your corporate information. They're basically nuisance hacks. They're posting political agendas or maybe, I don't know, whatever they're doing. But it's not very nefarious. They're basically just they're just troublemakers. So what I'm trying to share with you is if you put a firewall or WordPress security plugin, nothing's dummy proof. Keep in mind, the end of last year, the New York Times website was down for 10 days. So there's no such thing as hack proof. But the path of least resistance. A hacker is going to go after something that doesn't have any protection. So this is a great way to protect your WordPress site. So here's what we'll do. You're going to go to search, and you're going to search for all-in-one WordPress security. They just changed their name recently, by the way. This is 3.76 as of July 5th, 2014. Okay, so now it's called all-in-one WordPress security and firewall. We're going to click install, and we're going to say OK. Okay, now what you'll get greeted with down here on the bottom left is very, very straightforward. And it's really simple to go about setting this up. Okay, so if you just go through step by step through the little process here, it's really pretty straightforward. One of the things I would definitely pay attention to if you go through your settings here, first of all, back up your file if it's an existing WordPress site. I highly suggest to do that because this way, who knows what can happen when you're installing new plugins. So if you go through step by step, selecting on settings first, just follow the bouncing ball. I pretty much has everything set up, every little protection, every little nuance that I can use to make my experience better for myself and my clients. You're going to be way ahead of the game. So if you just go through step by step here, go through settings, go to accounts, but let me point out the most important ones. Okay, this also has a maintenance mode that you can set up as you're doing this if you want to basically lock people out from the front end as you're doing this, especially if you have a high traffic website. This is just going to put a maintenance mode up in the front. But in this particular case, I'm going to go, first of all, I'm going to go to scanner, and this is going to scan your site. Now it's telling you to make a backup of that. We'll just perform a scan now. Okay, then it's going to make suggestions here, and when the number on the left equals the number on the right, you're way ahead of the game. So we're now going to click right here, and if you could basically fill this information, you can scan every 4 weeks, every 2 days. I'm going to keep it by default and just hit Save Settings. So you can see how this works. So once your badge is 2020 or whatever number this happens to be, that means you're protected for that particular instance. The other thing I would suggest you do too is go into brute force. Now brute force is a great way. What it's going to do is change your login page to something else that makes sense to you. Now I'm going to do this, but I'm not going to share with you what the name of my login page is because I'd be defeating the purpose, just in case hackers are watching this video. So I'm going to click right here, and I'm going to come down here, and I'm just going to put in a login page. So once you do that, you'll see that it says 10 out of 10. So whatever you put here for the login page. Now, so you don't get locked out of your own site. Whatever new login you want to make that, I would highly suggest that you write it down or put it in a safe place. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to log into your own site. or log in, I should say, to your own site. So whatever you put here is going to change the WP admin for that particular property that you put down here. I just happen to put XYZ12. Now, by the time you watch this video, for you wise guys and gals out there, if you think for a second that you're going to go to my site and put in, that's not going to exist by the time you watch this video. So once again, if you just go through the step-by-step process here, some protection is better than no protection. If you could basically just check every box in, you're way ahead of the game. Now, the other thing I suggest you do too is create, again, this is just a simple deterrent, but this is just going to make it harder for somebody to get into your database. All databases start with WP. So you would put in there something that makes sense to you. You know, if you want to put in, just a series of numbers, you can do that as well. I'm just going to put a series of numbers there and change my database prefix. Now again, it's going to write it down for you, but if you're not sure, write it down yourself. This way you won't forget. That's really not that important, but I would definitely write down your database login, your login to your site. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to log in. So whatever information you put in there, that's going to change the prefix of your database. And again, that's just another security feature that's important. Now, the other thing you definitely want to pay attention to is your user settings for locking down your front page. So as an example, hackers will try a series of things. Definitely change your new username from admin. Everybody in the world for WordPress uses the admin as a username. Well, duh, change that to something else that makes sense to you. Now, in addition to that, right up here, you'll see that I have something called SEO Boy. Now, that's not my username. That's my nickname. So I would highly suggest that you go into your general settings and you change that so your username is different from your nickname. Your nickname is not the username. Your nickname is what appears here in public. So when you're doing videos or somebody can see it in public, you're not basically showing your hand. So if you go through these little checkpoints here, if I click here, I'm just going to pick my quick defaults here. So you'll see what happens here when I hit save settings. Then it comes up 20 by 20. So anytime you check boxes here, based on my experience, I pretty much do everything. I seal this whole thing up tightly. Firewall, blacklist manager. Blacklist manager, if you do a web search, you can actually find all your known blacklist hacker IP addresses and put that in there as well. So this is just a very good precautionary measure to take advantage of preventing WordPress hackers from hacking your website. So again, the name of this plugin is All-in-One WP Security by Tips and Tricks HQ. Now, of course, I don't work for them. They're not paying me to do this. I just like this particular plugin, and I want to share this information with you, my valued students. Thank you for being here. My name is Robert Farrell. For more in-depth training and step-by-step video tutorials, please check out thinklearnearn.guru, where you can get an all-access pass for everything WordPress, everything Google Analytics, SEO. I go through step-by-step all the Adobe software programs from Premiere to After Effects to Dreamweaver, Illustrator, Photoshop, etc., etc. I've been teaching Adobe programs since 1987. If there's a faster, better way to learn Adobe programs, then you definitely want to benefit from my courses. Talk to you soon. Have a good day.